Well, we've talked about the importance of keeping our children physically healthy, but school also adds plenty of mental pressures as well. Earlier this week, I sat down with Dr. Rajiv Krishna from Shepherd Pratt to get an understanding about what parents should look for as the school year goes on. Joining us now is Dr. Krishna. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you as well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're getting to a time of the year where I think there's a little bit of excitement. I think there's a little fear. I think there's some anxiety as school gets started. What are households dealing with right now, do you think, as far as emotions go?
So I think a lot of emotions, a lot of changes that happen with the start of the school year. I will say one thing just to preface everything that I'm about to say is that every household is different,
Sure.
right? For some households, the structure and predictability of school is actually kind of a blessing,
Yeah.
you know? And so I think it's important that we recognize that there's a whole range out there. In general, though, I think we can all agree that the start of school is a bit of a stressor. Sure. It's a stressor for kids. We know that kids are more stressed when they're in school. There are more task demands, there are more activities, there's more social engagements that they have to deal with. You know, it's just life, right? Yeah. And I think parents, especially that transition from letting my kids sleep in to I got to figure out how to make sure that they're getting up in time to catch the bus, and what happens if they don't. I think that those are all things that this period of time is always sort of a addition to all of the normal stressors of life.
Sure, and then once they get to school, there's so many things, at least for me as a parent, there's a mental checklist that I'm sure I'm overthinking. But, you know, I'm thinking about test scores, I'm thinking about safety, I'm thinking about, you know, are we on time this morning, and am I late picking you up in the afternoon? Are there things that we can do? Are there routines? Is routine a good thing to help us to calm some of our anxiety, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that I think is important to remember is we've been doing this for hundreds of years, right? We get through this every year. I think there are things that can make it easier, right? We know a lot about what the structure of school is going to be, right? We can make some predictions about that. We know, so planning ahead and getting ready for the things that we know are coming, right? There's always the standard stuff like, hey, let's start shifting those sleeping times, getting ready for getting up in the morning, make sure that we have all of our school supplies ready, make sure we know our schedules, things like that. Things that make it less unpredictable, right? Because there's always going to be stuff that happens at the last minute. Yeah. And the fewer of those that you're running into, the easier it is to navigate some of those stressors for parents and kids.
Once school gets started, I'll tell it myself again, I can be a questioner sometimes. How'd it go? How was school? How's everything? And if I only get a one-word answer back, I don't know when I probe more to ask more questions, or I just say, this is a teenager who doesn't have a whole lot to say. How should that conversation go? Once school starts, first couple days on the ride home, how should you handle that conversation?
So I will say I have my eldest is a 12-year-old, and we're getting into the age of, you know, how did things go? Good. Yeah. Right? And that's what you get, right?
That's all you're going to get.
So this is a balancing act,
okay.
Right? And I think teenagers in general, part of the deal of being a teenager is building more social relationships with peers, building independence from family. That's kind of the developmental task of being a teenager, right? But I think what we also know is that we all like to have that circle of security around us, right? We go and explore, and then we come back to our safe bases and touch points. So that may look different at different ages. When you're a toddler, it looks like I'm literally running out into the room and then coming back and touching daddy and then running off again, right? When I'm a teenager, that's gonna look a little different. That's gonna look like, well, if you're gonna ask me, I'm not gonna tell you. But if we're just hanging out talking, then stuff might come out.
That's
and
so true.
I have other ways of reaching out when I need that support, as long as I know that you are a safe base that I can come back and touch and check in with when I need to. So
there will be some instances where you may notice that there are issues at school, and maybe it's a call from a counselor or from a teacher, or maybe it's your kid just opening up. Like you said, in times when you're not asking the question, they supply some answers. When is the time do I say, maybe I should call and get some help with the situation because it's out of my scope now?
So again, I think this is individual,
okay,
right? And needs to be thought of in the context of how far are we down that pathway, right? I think it rarely hurts to ask the question, right? To say like, hey, are we doing okay right now, right? But I think of it, I'll give you a little bit of an analogy, right? Okay. So we're on a boat, right? and have a nice shiny boat of life that we're traveling in. And if you want to do anything with that boat, you got to put some weight on it.
Sure.
Right? That's the point of having the boat, right? And part of life is taking that weight on that boat and learning how it maneuvers and learning how it does and learning how to navigate that boat with that weight on it, right?
Sure.
We put some weight on that boat, other people put weight on that boat. School is an added weight on that boat,
Sure.
right? We can expect that weight on the boat's going to ride a little lower in the water. Some of the waves that might have just lapped up against it before are going to come over the edge. That's okay, right? That's part of learning and growing too, and we want to give it we want to give each other grace and recognize that it's going to be, we're going to react to things that we may not have in the same way, but we can keep working through that, right? I think at the point where it seems like, man, a lot of those waves are coming over, right? And I'm not sure if I can keep up with the rate at which water's coming into my boat. I need some other skills to develop. And that's as an analogy,
Sure.
the time
No,
to
it's a
start
good one.
looking for how to start reaching out for some additional help.
Okay.
Right? I don't want to over pathologize the idea. Not every stressor is a problem. That's how we learn and grow.
Sure.
But some stressors can be a really big problem, and some stressors can be overwhelming. And that's when we need to start thinking, how do we add the additional supports, the extra floats to keep things going?
Okay. For now, we'll wear our life vests and enjoy the first day of school.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you, Dr. Krishna.
Thank you for having me.
Certainly.